And we are live this morning. Thank you for joining me. We are back again, Sanctuary Live. Man, have we got a show for you. My co-host today is the other Pastor Bob. Pastor Bob Adams, are you there? Let's bring him on. There he is.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
We have Pastor Bob 1.0 and then, of course, Pastor Bob 2.0.
Yeah. I'm still not worthy of that 2.0 thing, but hey. We're not worthy.
Yes, I know. Well, we've got an interesting show today. It's women that rock and the pastors that love them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Some of the ladies that are going to be on today, I met down at your gathering down in Nashville there, and then the other lady, Jennifer of Ignescent, I'm actually going to have her in concert here in Wapaka, and then she's coming back a couple weeks later to be my guest speaker at a fundraiser for a nonprofit I work for.
That's great. Good. Yeah. Well, we're excited to have her on the show. We've got, as you said, Jennifer Benson with us from one of the really great bands. There's a deer right outside my window looking in. That's cool. I live in the middle of nowhere. There she is.
If I open my window, I'm just going to see cows. So
yeah. And then, we've got two of our rockers. These women are on our worship band here in Sanctuary in Nashville. And they've both got that phenomenal metal voice. Both of them do. And they'll be joining us in just a few minutes. Also, we want to talk about women in music, women in rock, specifically women in metal. And then speaking of that, we've got in just a little bit, our guys from Kenya doing a sanctuary worship album in Kenya. And they're live there today at Kenya, South Africa area. So Kevin Smith is here, says, love Jen. I know, we all do. We're excited to have her here. Folks, if you're joining us, would you let us know where you're watching from? That would be great. Lewis Center, Ohio here. Tom is here with us.
That's an interesting name. That's an interesting name, Tom Callahan, and he's from Ohio because Callahan Auto Parts from Tommy Boy, a movie with Chris Farley, they were out of Ohio. So that's kind of funny, actually.
And I'm sure they're related. There you go.
Tom Callahan, yes.
Yes. Well, Bob, I have some sad news to share this morning.
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah. So one of my good friends for 25 years passed away just a few hours ago. Oscar.
Oh, no.
Yeah. My friend Oscar. Oscar was the lead man, the front man, whatever, for Muhammad Ali for many years. He wrote, I think, 2 or 3 books about Muhammad Ali. Oscar was just here with me at our gathering just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's been here for a bit, and, he's just been a good friend. You know him well also, Bob.
I tell you what, the first time I met Oscar was under the bridge serving people with your group, and I was at a point where I was ready to hang it up in ministry as far as being a pastor goes, and he didn't know me from Adam, and he just spoke so much life into me.
Yes.
I mean, a dear friend.
Well, he was like that with everybody he was around. I've never met a guy that's more of a people person. And we're devastated, actually, just right before we started the show. My friend James, who is the police chief here in our city, called me to tell me that he had passed away. He's a good friend.
Wow, he just moved to the area again recently.
Yeah, he just moved back. And, man, it's devastating. He was a very good friend.
That's
friends, Bob.
Big news.
Yeah. So James said that last night when he talked to him, he was attempting to play a little basketball with some of the guys, shooting some hoops. And Oscar was 76, I think.
Wow.
So,
he sure didn't look it.
No, he looked great and was doing great, a friend to all. Anyway, folks, you never got to meet him, and we were about to have him on the show. So if you're part of Sanctuary here in Nashville, you'll know who he is. And Otherwise, we're sad to have him go.
I'm sad, very sad to hear that. And
Yes. Yeah.
I thought I actually thought you were. I didn't realize he passed. And I thought you were going to bring up the fact that Michael Knott passed away last night too.
Yes. Yes, I read that also.
Of course, from LSU, and
have a lot of history with Michael.
Yep.
In fact, when he was a lot younger, he worked at a record store in California, and I used to go in and visit with him. He was a little troubled in those days. That was the days I was just starting to work with the Lifesavers and with Undercover during that time. And of course, Pat Nobody, who's part of our fellowship now. And, you know, all those early guys. Michael did so much in those early days.
Well, and Michael Knott contributed quite a bit to the worship scene. A lot of churches don't realize that they sang some of Michael's songs back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're sorry to lose Michael, and we're sorry to lose our friend Oscar.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a sad thing. Well, we've got a busy show today, Bob, and you know, we've been doing this show for a while. You and I started out with one version called Two Pastor Bobs and a Microphone. And yeah, I know. So we're doing Two Pastor Bobs today, and we do have our microphones, and we are traveling, and I mean traveling. We've got some folks from the U.S., we've got some folks from Africa, and we've you know, the metal community, Bob, has just been exciting.
It has.
Over these decades. I've been privileged to work in pioneering a lot of this movement over the last almost 40 years now. It's been awesome. And Glenn is saying, very sad that Oscar died. Glenn, the drummer for Vengeance. Jim Barron Cross was just up. I saw some other band folks that, you know, we all miss Oscar. We're going to miss him. And Jim says Oscar was wonderful. Yeah, he really was. I don't know anyone that was more outgoing than he was. Encouraging, outgoing, and just
he really treated everybody like, even strangers, he treated them like friends he's just never met before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we're talking about women that rock. And
yes,
you know, traditionally, heavy metal reaches 80% men and 20% women. So women are outnumbered when it comes to men. But I have learned with Lisa Paxton and a few of the women from the past, and then, of course, those in the present that are doing metal, I have learned that they are a powerhouse when it comes to this music.
Yeah.
We had, Angus McSix with us last week, one of the fastest growing bands in the world right now. And Angus has this powerful woman right next to him on stage that's amazing. And there's so many people that are working on bringing women back to music. And
it's good that you say bringing back, because I mean, Christian metal has some very good women powerhouses in their corner. You go back to Barnabas, you know, with Nancy Joe, you know, there's a pioneer of the movement. And of course, Wendy Kaiser. I mean, both of them have like that Janis Joplin sound, which I know you appreciate.
I love that sound. Yes.
And, you know, of course, you said Lisa from Ransom. And so, you know, there's been and you've even in your original, I think it was your original Sanctuary Worship album, you had some help from Rachel in there too.
Yeah, we had the ladies. I think we had Rachel do 2 songs on there.
I know they're not metal, but they definitely, I mean, anybody that jumps on YouTube, just do yourself a favor, look up Rachel covering Carry On My Wayward Son. It's fantastic.
The girls did a great job. And when we did that video, by the way, we had Carrie Livgren on the video with us, who wrote the song from Kansas. So, yeah. So, yeah, there have been such great women involved in music for a while. Let's bring our 2 women on from Sanctuary, can we?
Sure. Let's do it.
Jen and Crystal are here with us today. They're in the Sanctuary Worship Band. And Bob, these two ladies have voices, let me tell you.
I've been down there with at your get-togethers and got to hear them, and you are correct.
Yeah, they can sing, and there they are.
Hello.
I love these ladies. They are awesome. And you know, they both got that voice. In fact, Jen does some growling as well. How cool is that?
Well, and of course, if those that aren't familiar with Jen and Crystal, they are related to Glenn, you know, so if I remember correctly, so Glenn Mancaruso. So yeah.
Yes.
So Crystal is engaged to Joey, who is Glenn Mancaruso's son. So
Well, that's
she's
gonna be a pretty cool father-in-law.
Mancaruso.
I
And
do.
then-
I have pretty much the coolest father-in-law ever.
Yes.
And
And Jen and
And
her
mother-in-law, yes.
Jen and husband are part of our fellowship here. We're so happy to have the Waters here with us.
we're
Just
happy.
really great. Yes. So women in metal, you know,
Here's
it's not,
20%.
yeah, there you go. Right. So it's not an ordinary thing for women to be included in heavy metal, especially in the United States. I'm a little more used to it in Europe and other places where we do festivals, but here in the US, it's not something that a lot of women gravitate toward. Has this been, and ladies, either one of you or both of you jump in, but has this been something that you've enjoyed for a long time? Or did you have to kind of get into it? Did somebody turn you on to metal, or was it always a love that you've had?
So, my parents actually raised me on the oldie goldies and Motown,
Oh, yeah.
which I still love Motown
Yes.
and oldie goldies.
Me too.
But as soon as I heard metal, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it took me a little longer. I actually grew up with like Michael Jackson and stuff, and I was really into that kind of stuff pretty early on, and I went through the quote unquote emo phase, which I played in like a pop punk band and stuff. But I feel like that kind of music was kind of my gateway into metal, and then I found it a little later in life. When I feel like I felt a lot more strong emotions as I got older, I kind of started to feel that metal was more of an accurate representation of how I was feeling. Had a lot more power to it, so that's kind of where I was drawn.
Now, was it the musical style, or was it lyrically, or both? What attracted you?
Both, absolutely both. It's kind of something that's undeniable, and as soon as you hear it, if it's something that you're into, you just go full force in. Lyrics and music for me.
Oh yeah, totally.
So-
I feel like what drew me first was probably lyrics before anything. I'm a big lyric person. And then probably the musical part kind of came after for me, but I loved seeing like the rawness and the realness and the way people wrote. And also like I love like the fantasy style lyrics and stuff like that too, where you can kind of turn things around in almost more of like a storytelling type thing. So yeah, lyrics kind of came first, and then everything else kind of followed.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Well, we have, you know, she's called, Bob, the queen of Christian metal these days. She's probably one of the more recognizable people. Would you like to introduce our next guest? We'll bring her on with us.
Yeah, so I've gotten to know the band Ignescent for a while, and it's a band that I've seen play at. We have a big festival up here in Wisconsin called Life Fest. It's one of the few concerts that still draws 27,000, and I saw that she's playing multiple times this year as well. Their band, and actually, they're going to be playing at the church I pastor. Now, I realize I don't look very metal today, and that's because I'm giving a talk at a city council meeting in a neighboring county. But we do a lot of rock shows up here at Radiant Fellowship, and Ignescent's coming up. And then I really enjoy Jennifer's heart and where she's written music from. And I'll be bringing her back in a couple weeks later to be a guest speaker for a nonprofit crisis center that I'm the director of. So I'm going to be able to visit with her, and my family we'll be able to visit with her regularly for a little while there. But yeah, let's welcome in Jennifer.
Awesome. And Jennifer from Ignescent, really great band and really great voice. And there she is.
How are you guys?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jennifer, I can't thank you enough for being on with us today on our Women That Rock show.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. Jennifer, we were just talking to the girls a minute ago about, you know, how did they get into heavy metal? But let's ask you the same question.
Yeah, well, growing up, I listened to like a lot of pop music, but I also listened to rock, and Lacey Sturm of Flyleaf really influenced me.
Yes.
And so she was a huge influence as far as me wanting to start Ignescent and Skillet too. But honestly, when I started Ignescent at first, it was more of the style was a little bit more pop rock, but as time went on, I got influenced by the musicians that I worked with. So at first I used to hate double bass, and I used to hate like 8-string guitar and all of that. And I liked more, more clean sounds and more straight drum sounds. But working with the musicians and just getting influence from them, now I'm like obsessed with double bass. I'm obsessed with off timing sounds and all that, and just that heaviness. So it was kind of over time that I just became just to really love rock and metal music, and I also discovered that I just love performing it more. There's something about just getting out, like they were saying before, getting out that emotion and that all that high energy with metal music. That's so it's so different than when you're singing just like softer and ballads or pop music, and so that's kind of how it came about.
There's a lot of intensity involved, isn't there?
Yeah, there definitely is.
Yeah,
and they've actually done some really good work. They're putting their promo together for the concert and everything. They've hit number 46 on the Billboard rock charts.
Really?
It's a big deal.
Congratulations!
Thank you. Thank you.
And you've done a collaboration with Kevin. Kevin from Disciple, right?
Right. Yeah. Our last single that came out, Not Today. He was on. He's sang on the second verse, and then he's featured in the music video, which is just like a huge honor because I'm a huge fan of Disciple. So that was just such a cool experience. And actually, Billy Gray of Fozzy is in the music video too. And we have a new song. We're waiting to hear back from the label, but it'll probably be released in June. And Billy Gray of Fozzy is also on that song, so I can't wait to have that. And we have a special guest on that song. I just can't say who yet, but he'll be singing on that too. But yeah, we've gotten to work with a ton of people. I've co-written with Samir of Flyleaf. I've co-written with the former lead guitarist Ben Casca of Skillet. So yeah, we've had a lot of different people that we've gotten to work with. And actually, you mentioned the song that hit number 46. That was called Remnant, and that was in 2022. And Samir Flyleaf came out to do some shows with us, and he was able to do a Will Rock radio show with us and play with us on that song, Will Rock, the radio station in Chicago. So that was really cool to have him to play with us on that radio show too. So yeah, God has really blessed us, and we've had so many opportunities, and we're so thankful.
Absolutely. Let's get a little deeper if we can, Jen, just for a minute.
Yeah.
And ladies, jump in if you have some questions also, or some things that you'd like to talk about in this area. You know, for us, it isn't just about music. It's about a message behind the music.
Yeah.
It's about a message that burns within us. It's about a gospel message of freedom, of truth. The greatest gift that was ever given to man, Jesus Christ. And, that's our passion with music. Uh, Jennifer, I know it is yours as well. Can you give us a little bit of an idea of how you came into the Christian faith, and what do you feel like your calling is as a woman in music these days?
Yeah, well, actually, I grew up Catholic, and my sister, when I was 15 years old, she invited me to church, and a friend who recently moved from California, because I'm from the Chicago area, she invited me to something called Campus Life with
Yes.
Youth for Christ. Yeah, and so I just started going to that church a bit. I started going to Campus Life, and we would just have fun, go on different events, play games and all that. But then they would always share the gospel at every event. And so one day, the youth leader, her name is Jenny Morgan, she had talked to me, and she's like, "Would you like to, give your life to Jesus?" And so I did. At 15, I decided to give my life to Jesus. I used to think good works would get me to heaven and
Yes.
being a good person. And then I realized it was only, um, just faith and giving and accepting Jesus and following him is the only way to heaven. So I did at 15. Before that, I danced a lot. I took a lot of dance classes and did dance recitals and all that in high school. But when I became a Christian, that kind of shifted. I started writing songs, different lyrics,
Hmm.
and I started taking voice lessons. And I had a calling pretty soon after I became a Christian to evangelize and to share Jesus through music. Um, so before 15, I was like super shy. Like I couldn't even look at people in the eyes for 2 seconds. I was so shy, and it was almost like I had a clasp on my mouth. I don't
Hmm.
know, I was terrified of talking to people. But as soon as I gave my life to Christ, I just I couldn't shut up. Like people were like, "Wow, you're so different." I started talking to people at high school. I wasn't scared anymore. I started telling them about Jesus. I started doing talent shows, and like before that, we did some fun thing with Madonna and all that. But after that, I started singing songs about Jesus, and I would share God and about Jesus at the talent show, and so my life totally changed, and I was on fire for God. And I would see many different bands and see what they were doing, and how they were playing this current music, but still sharing God's love and telling people about Jesus. And so that's a huge calling on my life. I've been at bars, and I've shared Jesus, and I've shared the gospel. I think it was last year I got to talk to someone, and they were actually at Life Fest. And it was a young person, and they were talking about how they were abused, and they even though it was at a Christian fest at Life Fest, they were talking about how they were a Satan worshiper, and how they wanted to give up on life, and they wanted to end their life. And so it was just an honor that they would come to me and be able to talk to me, and I got to share with them about Jesus, and that God has a calling for their life, and he loves them, and not to give up. And so God has put so many different opportunities in my life, and just to share his love. And so I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about writing song lyrics that are just true and real about my experiences and my hurt and my pain. Like a song about that's called "You're Not Alone." that's on our new album. But just encouraging people that God loves them and they're not alone in what they're dealing with. And so that's
Can
the
you talk a little
calling on my
more,
life.
maybe a little more about that song in particular, Jen?
Yeah, definitely. So these last few years have been a struggle. Um, I've had so many betrayals, people that have betrayed me.
Mm.
Um, since 2020, things have just been really crazy. And I've had other people say that too, that, um, God's been working differently in their life. And,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's been a struggle these last few years. We moved away and then we moved back and someone stole money from us, like $3,500.
Oh my goodness.
And we rented an apartment when we moved back to Illinois, and it was just like an awful, like, we went there and it looked fine, but when we moved in, it was just disgusting. And so those people, which is weird that they actually said that they go to a church in the area, but they, yeah, it's, for me and my husband, they just, they basically, we gave them like $3,500, and then we went in, and the place was, when we moved in, smelled, it was disgusting. And then I had to move out because it was just so bad, and we couldn't get our money back. And so anyways, we were homeless for a bit. It was just a crazy thing. And had to move in with my parents for a while. And just some other things that I have been betrayed just by a ton of people, and just my heart has been hurting for a while, and just a lot of heartbreak I've been dealing with these last few years. And so that song came from that, from the heartbreak, and from talking to other people that have had similar experiences, that
Mm.
have been homeless, that have just been betrayed by people that struggle with anxiety, that struggle with depression, because that is something, through all these experiences that I've been struggling with lately. And so I just wanted to share that through this song. And it just says, you're not alone, though your world is breaking, though your heart is aching, you're not alone. And that's just an encouragement that no matter what people do to you, no matter what you're struggling with, that God is always there for you. He
Mm.
hasn't given up on you, even though you may feel like it at times. And there's nothing wrong with that, with feeling that pain and with feeling that, because that's just an honest emotion. But but I know I've seen God do miracles, and I know I'm not alone, and I know that he loves us all. And so that's what that song is about.
I love that. I love that.
And that's what really captured when I was putting the promo piece together for this fundraiser that we're doing, which Jennifer will be speaking at. One of the key clips that they put in their promo is that Ignescent draws from their struggle and experiences with anxiety and depression to put a message of hope in their lyrics to encourage others that they're not alone. And it's no mystery, we're in a world filled with anxiety and depression, so this group is definitely a voice of hope.
Yes, that is awesome. Man, I love that. And one of the forgotten people right now, Jen, and we've been talking about this for a few weeks,
Mhm.
are people that have been hurt by religion.
Yes.
Don't want to call it the church because it's not a true church, but
Hmm.
organized religion. We have so many people that are hurting. And I've worked with Christian rock and roll now for over 50 years. And I just remember at the very beginning, we had so many, at the very beginnings, there were
Yeah.
so many coming into the movement that had just been so hurt that they were abandoning anything that had to do with their faith. And it seems
Yeah.
like we're seeing a lot of that happening again right now.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that feel that way. Do you think that's true, Jen?
Yeah, definitely. I know I've been hurt by church. We had a pastor a few years ago at a church we attended for a long time, and he stole tithes from everyone. And so that was kind of the first experience that I had, that with that. And so that's something that really shook me and hurt me, and I still struggle with that. And then just being a woman in Christian metal, I've had weird things said to me by people who are Christians, like I'm a witch, like crazy things. I'm like, no, I'm not a witch. I'm out there, I'm singing rock music, and I'm sharing Jesus's love for people. I just I constantly get a lot of weird things said to me. And then I've heard a lot of other people that have church hurt too. So yeah, you're right. It's a big struggle. It seems to be getting worse lately, and it's heartbreaking. But the thing that I think we all have to remember is all these people. Okay, so maybe they don't fully understand Christian metal, and they're coming from a different perspective. Maybe it's the way they grew up; they just don't understand. And
Right.
so I get that. So we just have to give them grace. But another thing is, people are human. They fall. We fall. We've all made mistakes, right? And so instead of looking to people like I used to, really look up to pastors and people, and and that's okay, but I think we have to be careful, and instead of looking up to people and putting people on a pedestal, we need to make sure we put God and we put Jesus on a pedestal only, and not people, and know that though these people will hurt us, Jesus won't, and Jesus is not doing this to us. God is so we just have to remember that, even though it's hard, we have to constantly put that in the forefront of our mind. So
Yeah, absolutely. Girls, comments?
100% agree with what you just said. Also as people, sometimes it can happen by accident, just looking up to a pastor or, replacing someone in your life with Jesus. We should never do that. We just have to look to Jesus and still love the people.
Yeah, and I think that is kind of the remedy too, for people who maybe haven't experienced metal before, maybe think it sounds evil and dark. I feel like if we continue to put our sights on Jesus, and stand firm in that, that it can really change people, because there's so much power in metal music, and there's so much feeling and emotion. And as Christians, we all go through the dark times, the hard stuff. And I feel like maybe for people who are like new to the faith or are kind of on the outside looking in, it looks like we're all sunshine and rainbows all the time, but there's
Read the Psalms.
And I think it's a great genre and platform to be able to talk about those real struggles and real hurt that we all experience. But the difference is that there is hope, and there is Jesus at the end of everything. So
Amen.
Amen. Yeah. So I think what you just said is 100% awesome and great.
I love that. And when it comes right down to it, folks, a moniker that we've used for years now is that we are metal, we are family. And it's really true. There is such a camaraderie with the metal family. It's just been awesome. I want to sneak one more group of people onto our screen in just a minute. I want to invite the guys from Kenya to join us that are working on a new worship album. Jennifer, can you stay with us a little longer?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome. We'll put everybody on here. We're going to take just a couple minutes break here. And folks, so we can kind of get them on camera with us and all of that. Want to especially advertise the Immortal Fest coming up. We'll do that in just a minute. Hope you're going to join us there. And folks, don't forget, we've got another 30 minutes to go here. We've got some great things we're about to discuss, and some things you'll want to stick around for. So we'll see you in a minute. Hello, Metal family. So I'm excited for the next Immortal Fest. Such great bands, such great people. I hope you're going to be one of them. I'll be there hosting both events this summer. Really excited to spend time with the bands and to spend time with you. Sunday at the first event on the 28th of July will be the Sanctuary Day. We're going to have a service. We're going to have our worship team. We're going to have some special guests. We're going to have a good time. And I hope that you plan to come, and some surprises still to come too. So both events, first July 26th to 28th, and the other the first week of September. Great bands, great time together, family time. We are metal, we are family. I hope to see you there. And we're back. Thank you for joining us, folks. I'm here with Jennifer Benson, is our special guest today from Ignescent. Our own Jen and Crystal are here with us as well from the Sanctuary Worship Band. My cohort, the other Pastor Bob 2.0, is here with us as well. We have two Pastor Bobs and the women that they love.
There you go.
And
just going back to the comments that we were talking about with the style, the genre of metal, I think Ted Kirkpatrick, of course, of the drummer of Tourniquet, that passed away a couple years ago, said it best because he was big in classical music. He said if Tchaikovsky and Beethoven and all of them had the instruments that we have today, their music would have been metal as well. I think that's pretty good.
I think he's right. Seriously,
Yeah.
I think he's right. Yeah, I love that. And we miss Ted as well, by the way, a lot. He was a good friend. John, our producer, are we ready to bring on our guys from Africa, live from Africa? We've got, there they are. Hey, guys.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
Hey, guys. So we have Terry and Morten and Jonas with us this morning. Great folks, great friends. And Jonas, or Morten, you were just here at my house a few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago in March.
Yeah. So good to have you back.
Yeah, thanks.
Jonas, it's been a few years since you've been at my house, but you have. And Jonas is living in Kenya now. And then Terry, you're in, tell us your location.
Okay, we are in Kimana, Kenya right now. I moved here 4 months ago. My wife's from Kenya. I do missionary work here, and now we are here full time.
That's
so
awesome.
We're near the southern border, right near Tanzania.
Now, you have a very interesting monument there close to you.
Yes, that we do. We have Mount Kilimanjaro that you can see from our front and backyard.
Isn't that awesome?
We took the camera like just a little bit over here. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful view from the garden.
I got to be honest with you. When I hear Mount Kilimanjaro, I can't help but think of Toto, and of course
This
the
whole
African song. So
I've heard it a time or two. Here.
Well, you got we're excited about what's going on with you these days, and you had a vision to do a more of a metal worship praise album. I think you got it from some of the guys that have this new band they just put together. So Sanctuary Worship kind of takes on some kind of new branding, new ideas, going more towards an edge these days. I think everyone involved with Sanctuary, we've got more than just you guys that are working on projects. But tell us how this was born and tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, so first, if you wonder why we don't look very Kenyan, so these guys at least have Kenyan wives. I don't. But I was down here visiting Jonas just 6 weeks ago with my family. Jonas and I started a Christian metal band called Rosalind, and then he got married and moved down here. So I was back visiting him and then when I was at Jonas's place, he told me, well, there's this guy moved here to Kenya. He's called Terry, and he's also a metalhead. So, okay, let's jump in the car and go visit him then. So we went on a little crazy road trip down Mombasa Road down here. And that was had 2 fantastic days here, just jammed together. Didn't think we were going to do a whole lot together at that point. I got back to Denmark, started listening to a new project called Holy Name with from Sleeping Giant. That touched me a lot. And so I sent that to Jonas, and we got Terry into the loop. And all of a sudden we were talking about doing Christian metal worship, and Terry and I both messed around with that thought in the past, but there was never really the timing, and we just felt this fire about renewed fire. Something was about to happen, and just like, if you know about like being under a thin place, or just something God is stirring in your heart like big time. I had this old vision since I was 13 to do metal for Jesus, and I've been doing that like on and off all along, but doing it like a worship project just sounded so cool, because I had a lot of friends moving from being Christian bands to being Christians in bands to all of a sudden not be Christian bands. Definitely not. And so I thought, why not just move in the total opposite direction and do like a Christian metal worship band? So so that's what we're working on right now. I'm back down here. We got back down to Terry's place, and we have a full week now. But when you asked us to come on here, I thought, well, we don't even have a name or a few more than sketches for a few songs. But then you said it could make sense to get you guys on, to get people behind you in prayer.
Yes.
And 100% click with me, and that's why we're here. So if anybody of you want to pray for us, and we got almost a full week here writing worship metal songs, and we got a lot of stuff going on. Some good stuff, some stuff that's a little challenging, and it's really, really good to be here. And that's what's going on.
Well, and it's great to have you here. I've known these guys for a long time. Morten, you were in the very first Christian metal band in Denmark.
Yeah.
A lot of years ago.
He's the first one to play the clubs.
Yes. Right. And Jonas, you've been in quite a few bands there also. You know, back when Jonas had hair.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
My hair was actually longer than Terry, so
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jonas had
A lot more piercings.
longest dreads, and you guys were awesome. And we all have to grow up, don't we? Well, everybody but Pastor Bob, but it comes the time. So Holy Name is really making a splash, and I expect that a lot of people aren't going to be copycats necessarily of just a style from the music, but they're excited about the possibilities to go to the next place in worship. And is that kind of how you guys are feeling about it too?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I've felt for a long time that you have worship music, and a lot of people go to church, and you see like the average churchgoers, nothing wrong with it, but you go in and you watch them getting into it and praise, and their hands are in, they're all in. But then when you try to bring somebody who maybe comes from a more metal background, or somebody that you just went out to a bar and tried to bring into church and really get them into it, they don't get it. They're just kind of like, well, this is light and fluffy, and it doesn't appeal to them. So we want to appeal to the crowd that gets missed a lot.
Now, let me bring up something that's a little controversial, and I'd like to have our ladies comment on this as well. But a whole lot of people feel like the church experience, especially worship, is very female, is very feminine, and doesn't attract a lot of men. Ladies, is that fair? Do you think that's true? Comments?
Yes. Yes, it is true.
Yeah, I agree. And I know that metal tends to be, obviously, it is more masculine. too. And it kind of covers more of like the heaviness of everything. But yeah, it does feel like very like feminine and light and fluffy sometimes.
Fluffy's a proper term for it, you know.
Which is fine. And I mean, I totally understand why people would love that, but I feel like there's also quite a large group of people who need to feel that rawness that we were kind of talking about earlier too.
To pierce their hearts. Yeah.
More of a metal thing.
Yep.
Jennifer Benson, what do you think? Ideas on this one?
Yeah, I agree with what they said. Definitely. It does seem to be that way. And yeah, I think it would be amazing to bring in more metal music. I know there's some churches that do that, not many, but I think that would be amazing. And I believe that would really help, men, and also just reach men too, as well. Just having, more of that rawness and that metal style in worship.
Jennifer, you said just a few minutes ago that you liked the intensity of metal, especially as a platform for the lyrics, because you felt like you could really get a more of an intense message across. I'm putting words in your mouth, but I think that was kind of the point you were making. Do you feel like that's probably true with worship as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. I believe that that would definitely translate to worship music too. There's just something about the sound of metal, and it just, I don't know. Yeah, it just gives you a lot of energy and just excitement and getting also that emotion out. And so I believe like metal would help, with that connection with God and just with worshiping and that emotion of it. And so, yeah, I definitely think that's true.
Because it becomes very emotional, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. It
Yes.
definitely does. Yeah. Anyway, when I'm on stage, particularly, it's just hearing those lyrics, feeling and listening to that, like the double bass and just all that. Yeah, there's just something about it. So.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I want to talk about your process a little bit. You've just started. Morten, you have sent me some basic track ideas that you guys have been exploring. And amazing stuff. I'm so excited for it. What does your process look like? You guys are together now for a week. What does this week look like for you?
Yeah, so actually, Jonas and I just arrived here just a few hours ago today. So that's what we're talking about. But so far, it's been sending forth and back audio files online and just recording some stuff at home, throwing riffs at each other. And now we're sort of sorting it out over the days and praying about lyrics and praying about where to take all this. And yeah, it's so we're going to jam a lot and pray a lot and look into lyrics and have just some good time together jamming and cranking it up and praying about that.
Yes.
But it is kind of like a strange process, to start a band like the way we're doing here, or start this kind of worship project this way.
Yeah.
Because we're starting in a country where it's not a home country to any of us really, so it's out in the middle of nowhere in Kenya, like literally in the middle of nowhere.
4 hours from a major city.
Yeah. So it from a lot of points of view, this doesn't make any sense. It's a really weird way to start a band or to start a project together. Morten is still living in Denmark, and
For now.
but it's a really really strange process, and that's also why we've come up with this idea of working more with tracks that we can share, so we can work even though we are apart. We can still work on this together. But that also led to some of the ideas of what if we made these kind of tracks available, so people who sit in churches in other countries, there could be 2 or 3 metalheads in churches sitting there. They're not enough people to form their own worship band or do their own project. but now they can tap into these tracks, start using them. They can go in and say, okay, we need the 2 extra guitars, we need a keyboard, fine, boom. They can access those tracks that we've written and start using them. So we want to keep it kind of open, and so people can also join in and be part of this.
Absolutely.
I think, regarding the metal worship, I think it's like women in metal. There's not enough of it, and, there's been a decent history of metal worship. I mean, Pastor Bob, you'll remember going back in the day to the Rock Power Praise albums, where Ex-Sinner and these other bands were doing hymns and stuff. And then, of course, there was Sanctuary Worship and other things here and there. And once in a while, a band like, I think August Burns Red did How Great Thou Art and stuff. But to get a band like these guys coming together to do an album, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to really hit.
Absolutely. And very timely. We've got some good worship bands. Our worship band in Switzerland is awesome at Metal Church there. We've got the guys in Sanctuary in Holland have just one of the better. We've had them on here. Mouse has been on here with us, and they're doing a Sanctuary Praise weekend once a month with the praise band there. But this is the first serious project to put some stuff down on vinyl and on, well, we don't say vinyl necessarily, but we want vinyl because vinyl is the thing now. But to put it down actually and do an album with this is awesome. And I know I speak for all of us here that we're all anxious for the music to begin to use it in our own communities as well. Don't you think? Yes, absolutely. So you guys, we're going to keep you in prayer, and we're excited for this. We'll have you back from time to time, and we'll talk about how the progress is going. Let us know how we can pray for you. Appreciate that. Thank you for being here with us. Jennifer Benson, we love you. We're so excited to have you on the show today and to hear more about what you're doing. And God bless you as you continue. You're an inspiration to us.
Thank you so much. Love you too. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. And then, of course, our ladies, Jen and Crystal, love you tons. Thank you for being on the show. And back with us more as we continue in the weeks to come. We have more people that we'll invite on as guests, and we'll invite them on too to be part of that. Folks, thank you for joining us today. And I just want to tell you that this is an exciting time in our metal community. It really is. We are metal, we are family. And for people to begin the process now of putting together some new worship stuff is exciting to me. We got to stay on the edge. We got to stay current. We have to stay where people are at, because this is where it is. This is what it takes to present the gospel of Jesus Christ to our community, to our metal community. And we're excited to be part of that. Folks, again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for Pastor Bob 2.0 joining us, to John, our producer. And thank you. Folks, don't forget, you are blessed. So go and be a blessing.